Hi, everyone. Lester story number 3 today. Kate Freeman. I'm Kate Freeman. And I just wanted to give you a little story about a friend of Lester. A group of us used to go out for dinner or lunch, a meal here and there. And one of the people who often showed up was Tony. And Tony's last name was Serentitas. He was an older man, probably much older than Lester, maybe 15 or 20 years older. And at the time I knew Lester, he was late 60s, early 70s. So Tony would come to dinner, and Lester would include him in the conversation. He really was quite elderly. He didn't say a lot, but it was just very sweet to have him there. Lester would go by the nursing home where he lived and pick him up and bring him to dinner with us. And Tony was quite a fascinating person because Tony had actually invented saran wrap, and they named it after him, Serentitas, so saran wrap. And so it was quite fascinating that here he was. He and Lester had written a book together, and the book was on aligned energy. I used to have a copy. I loaned it to a friend, and I didn't get it back, so I don't have it anymore. If anybody finds that book, I would so love to have it for a museum that I'm hoping to have someday. I'm saving Lester things. So anyway, Tony Serentitas for years came to dinner, and he actually developed dementia. And yet Lester would still bring him. He'd go by the nursing home and bring him at least once a week. And Tony, as often dementia patients do, would have to leave one place because he was doing things that he shouldn't be doing. He didn't realize he didn't have clothes on, so he'd walk out the door. And not to be abusive or anything, he just was he had dementia quite badly. So I thought it spoke a lot about Lester's caring and his willingness to be friends even when he got nothing back, because he and Tony had been friends for many years. And so he took him to dinner, and we got to know him. Lester also used something about Tony to as a little teaching story for me. Hi there. Thanks for coming. He said some of Tony's inventions had been stolen from him. And because of that, Tony tried to keep everything secret, and he held it in. He didn't tell anybody, and then he forgot what the truth was. So it was I was working on something from some long ago trauma, and it was kind of like I would find a truth about it, and then as I released, I would go further. And what was true for me, my perception of truth, would change because I had released more. And it was almost like going into a shell, just traveling that pathway until you got to the very core of it. You didn't really know what the truth was. And I knew when Lester was telling me the story about Tony and how he had he had misguided himself. He was trying to help me find my way through this trauma. And so anyway, that's my story about Lester and his friend Tony. And there were many other friends too. So much love to you all, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Bye now.